Great, good evening, great people. It's my honor, it's a privilege that I thank God to always meet with you every Thursday here at the World Show. We never take it for granted. We thank God for always preserving us, connecting us, and we want to appreciate your effort, creating time, taking your time, also taking your money to make sure that you have data that we can be able to connect in the World Show. So we want to take this opportunity and humbly welcome you to our show. And we know God is going to bless us tonight. So tell us how the sound is. Tell us how the video is, and we'll really much appreciate. So we are looking forward to hear your comments concerning our video, concerning our sound. Then we'll get into our evening show, and today to be amazing. Today we want to encourage somebody. Today we want to motivate somebody. So make sure, regardless of what you're going through, that God have a word for you in this season. So we are looking forward to hear how our video is, how our sound is, and we'll appreciate. And as we always request you, make sure you are sharing this link, the live link on your pages. Tag your friends. They need this wisdom. They need this nugget. And we believe that God have connected us for a reason and for a purpose. So I'm looking forward to hear from your end. And once my director, they confirm you're doing very well, then we'll roll direct into our show. Can someone kindly, I want to appreciate those who have come in. Sholuta, thank you. And thank you for coming in. Wambuimboro, thank you for coming in. And I can see there the rest there that they don't want to reveal their identity, but I thank God. I can see my Uncle Reverend Simon through. I can see my other good friend, Reverend Isaac. God bless you from Moranga. We don't take it for granted. Thank you. And he's telling us the sound is okay and is clear. The video is okay too. And we really appreciate. Keep sharing, keep tagging. And we thank God for you all, even as we get into our show to a night topic. Thank you so much. So keep sharing, keep tagging those friends, those who have not checked in. Let them know that we are already in and we are doing amazing, amazing. Thank you. Tonight I want to discuss and I want to share with us about a topic that I have felt heavy in my heart and my spirit about going through the storms of life. And I know at this time it is in a cognizance of what people are going through, whether financially, whether economically, whether socially, psychologically. And I felt I want to encourage somebody tonight. And that's what we'll be doing. That will still tell you it is well with your soul. It is well with you. I know people have gone through storms and they never got an encouragement. They never got someone to motivate them. They never got someone to tell them, after this it shall be well with you. After this you're going to come out victorious. After this you shall stand and give a testimony. Whether it is in business, whether it is in relationship, whether marriage, whatever you are going through tonight, I want to encourage you and to tell you it is well with you. And as even as we talk about the storms in life and the things that we face, it is very good to understand that there are things that come into our life not to break us but to build us. There are things that come into our life and they're not supposed to leave us worse than we were, but they're supposed to propel us to a better levels of facing life, preparing us for greatness, unlocking the inner potential in us. So it is not every storm that we go through in life that is bad. I want to start with that disclaimer that not everything that we go through in life that it is worse. It's not everything that we have gone through in life that we think was meant to finish us. There are things that God ordained in our life so that we could realize who we are. There are things that happen in our life so that we could be able to totally surrender and understand in his majesty and his power. So tonight, even as we talk through, as we go through this discussion about the storm, my dear brothers and sisters, I want to encourage you that we must start from a point of being positive. I find a lot of people, when they go through storms, when they go through roller coasters of life, when they go through challenges, one thing that we run very fast to, or our aunt and I run to, it's been negative. We are always negative. And that moment when we are going through something in life and we become negative, it shields us from seeing the goodness of what we are going through. And I've said this, that every time you'll go through a storm, three things should always happen. Number one, any storm, whether good or bad, you're going through in life, should never leave you the same, should propel you to a better place, should either propel you to think outside the box, or see better opportunity, or unlock the potential you have in. So anytime you go through a storm, one thing you should understand, that storm should never leave you the same. It should never leave you the same. Regardless of how bad it is, it should not leave you the same place. It should not leave you where it found you. It should not, actually, I always say this, storms should never be retrogressive. It should always be progressive, should push you, should be able to propel you to another level. But majority of time when we go through storms, we are always negative. We always see devil. And I want to encourage someone that even at that place when you're feeling you are down, you're feeling there is no hope, you're feeling like you are done, as long as you're breathing, your tomorrow is better than today. And you know what you just need to do? You need to believe and be positive with yourself. Regardless of that situation you are in, you shall be quiet and don't fear. Because fear, it is one element that has always unlocked from reaching out the best out of us and get the best solution out of every. I remember this, that anytime you'll find yourself having a challenge, it means you have a solution, because a challenge will always be attracted to a solution. Let me repeat this. Anytime you have a challenge, anytime you have a problem, let me use the word challenge. Anytime you have a challenge in life, it means you already have a solution, because challenges are always attracted to where solution are. If you have 10 problems, if you have 10 challenges, that means within you have 10 solutions. The only thing that you need to do, you need to make sure that you're positive. I want to encourage every person that's listening to me, whether in business, whether it is business that is dying, whether it is business that's coming to a close. Through that place when it's coming to a close, number one, be positive and ask yourself, okay, what next? Number two, what lesson did I learn before this storm came into my life? How was I well prepared before storm came into my life? Because anytime that you find a storm coming into your life, it comes to test your preparedness. Anytime you will get a storm coming into your life, it is testing how prepared are you, how strong are you, because there is no faith until the faith is tested. There is no any practical faith until it is tested. Until you go through that storm, until you go through that roller coaster, and you come to the other end of life, the other side of life, and that moment you'll be able to say, for real, my faith has been tested and proven and accredited to move on to the next phase. So tonight, guys, we need to arise up. Brethren, we need to arise up and be able to say, I know nothing is making sense in my life, but I know within me there is a quietness, there is peace I can be able to enjoy, because I know it is my faith is being tested. And after this, I'll be able to stand and I'll give a testimony of where I was and where I am today. So don't feel that that is the end of life. I want to give you two scenarios. When you take, and I know I was sharing this somewhere on Sunday and on Tuesday at Jombe High School, and I was sharing with ladies who are having a conference there, and I said this some few weeks ago when they were there, and I was saying this, that when you take the word message and you write the first four letters, that is MESS, and then you put hyphen, then you put age, you'll get it is mess and age. When you combine the two, will always give your word message. So there is no message without a mess. In other words, your message, it is yesterday's mess. If today you want to have a message, if tomorrow you'll have a message, then that means that in your darkest moments, there was a mess you are going through. Mess of lacking money, mess of psychological torture probably, mess of lack of, proper good health. That mess when you have allowed God to build you. Look, the man called Job, he's the first man to enjoy the double portion. He's the first man to get, twins, because everything that he had, he was blessed twice. That means anything that you have let go, it will come back in good measure. So your mess today will always be a message tomorrow. That thing that you're feeling will break you. If you remain positive in life, if you remain focused to what you're doing, that season when it is over, the moment you go through the fire, you'll stand and be able to say that, do you know what? That I've been able to stand because my faith has been tested. My mess has been transformed to a message. There are storms people are going through, and those storms were meant to build you. But because we saw ourselves dying fair, we saw ourselves helpless, we saw we cannot be able to rise. And those seasons have become part of our life, have become like our life, because we never seized our season and know how we need to prepare. Let me tell you, storms in life are not permanent. They are just for a moment. Messes in life are not permanent. But do you know what? When God will change your mess to a message, your message will be permanent. Let me tell you, Job students say that I know my Redeemer liveth, so I can face tomorrow. I can face tomorrow because I know in my darkest moment there is work being done. At that moment when it's darkest, there are things that are being fixed in myself. So after this, I'll be able to move with energy. I'll be able to move with speed because I have been proven and have been tested. Your mess is not going to break you. Your mess is not going to finish you. But I came to encourage somebody and to tell you, hold on. As long as you are breathing, I'm telling you, you're going to come out victorious. You're going to come out strong. There things could not be making sense. It could be a family thing. It could be whatever reason it is. Whether it is ministry and you're feeling a lot of baggage, you're feeling a lot of pain in your heart, you're feeling a lot of hopelessness within you. But I came to tell you 5 things that you need to understand when you're going through a storm. Number 1, which is very important, that every storm will happen in your life. There is a purpose for it. Any storm will happen. And I have said this, and I want to be very slow. There are storms will happen in life so that God can show you the kind of environment you have been living in. There's so many people who have lived in a fake life until they'll go through a storm to realize who they are. There are people who have been surrounded with a lot of people, and those people are not worth to be in your life until a storm will come through your life. It will shake people until those moments when you be bankrupt, and that moment you will start realizing my life is not defined because I have money. There are people who have no purpose until they go through a storm. And that moment they start appreciating the purpose of discovering their purpose. So every storm you go through in life, it is not in vain. There is a purpose for it. There are people who require storm so that you realize the kind of friends you have. Until you go through a challenge, you'll never know the kind of people you have. Until you lose that job, until that business becomes shaky, until that marriage becomes shaky, and realize how many people can stand with you, how many people you can call and stand in gap, how many people can be able to cover your nakedness. Until you go through a storm, you'll never know. When all is well, you'll never know why you are friends. You require that moment when there is a shake-up. So you also remember, you know those people that they need to be shaken off from your life. Until you go through a storm, there are people you keep entertaining in your life. They use a lot of energy, a lot of your money, a lot of your time, and they are not meant to be in your life. So appreciate when that storm comes. The only thing that you need to do, every storm have a specific aim in your life. There are storms that will come to shake your life. Their storms will come to separate your life. Their storms will come to shape your life. Their storms will come so that you can be sharpened. Any storm will come in your life when you talk about the purpose. Either it will shape your life, it will sharpen, it will separate you. Those 3 S in a storm are very important. Storms will come to separate you, so that there are people who need to be cut off from your life completely. It will come and shape your life. And so that you know, this is the direction I need to take my life. Their business that you closed, so that you realized that was not your area of calling, so that you don't continue wasting your money, you don't continue wasting time. So it came to shape your life. There are moments you'll come and you are sharpened, so that you can be prepared. When God will take you to the next season, you already know how to recognize your opportunity. You know how to prepare yourself before the opportunity comes. Until you go through that storm, you'll never realize your purpose in life. Good friends, I want to encourage you. Can we start opening our mind and our heart and our spirit to start having a discernment spirit? It's not every storm that comes in our life. Remember in the book of Mark, when we talk about chapter 4, down there, and Jesus was in a boat, and and there was a storm, and the people who were there, they were questioning Jesus, why are you sleeping when there is a storm in the boat, and the boat was almost capsizing? But until that moment, the storm was there. They could have not appreciate the power and the presence of Jesus in that storm. Some moment you need to go through a storm so that you appreciate the power of God in delivering and redeeming you. So every time you go through a storm, I want to encourage you and to tell you there is a purpose for it. Either the purpose is to shape you, either to separate you, or to sharpen you. Those three will push you to a level of realizing who you are. I hope I'm encouraging somebody. Number two, when you go through a storm and you're an open-minded person, you are looking at the future. What will happen is any storm will always open opportunities for you. They have said this: necessity is the mother of invention. If there is no need, you'll never look for a solution. Some of us are gifted. Some of us are talented, but we are living on a comfort zone until that moment when a boat will going to capsize. Is going to is going to be turned in the water, and then from there you realize you can swim. Until that moment when you have storm come in your life, you never realize how strong you are. You'll never realize how much you can bear. You never realize how much you can withstand until that moment when a storm comes in your life. When you're shaken, you don't know how much you can hold. You don't know how much you can support yourself until that moment when when there is a storm in life. I want to encourage somebody. That storm that you're going through in life probably is meant to bring the best out of you. Probably it is waiting for the manifestation of your gifting. Most of the time when you realize people who have invented great ideas, great innovations, they were birthed out of a need. If there was no need, if there was no darkness, then there was no need of discovering a bulb. If there was no need with a locomotive, those old days trains, then there was no need of inventing a car. If then we realize that we need to move faster than using a car, then they could have no need of discovering an aeroplane. That means anytime there is a challenge, will always open your mind. That storm you are going through, probably whatever it is. There are people who are going through a challenge in relationship. Probably it's a moment to propel you to open the greatness in you in terms of communication, in terms of conflict resolution, in terms of change management. There is something will always be birthed in a storm. And when you go through that storm tonight, when this season is over, my friend, in the books will be written, during this season of your life, you have birthed something. I remember I shared this and I said, when women, and I know our sisters are listening, when they walk in a maternity, one thing they realize that you don't need to go there with discipline and decorum. That's no place when you put yourself in order. There are moments storm will come and it's going to propel you right, left, and center. But by the time you are done with that storm, you are carrying a baby. When you get into a ward, in a maternity ward, you'll never hear quiet ladies. They're always shouting. They're always calling names, even with some you cannot understand. Those office ladies with the suit, skirt suit, the trouser suit, with makeup. You'll never find them in makeup any moment you'll find a lady in a maternity with makeup, there is a fake thing there. Because that moment is the moment when you are true to yourself. When you're going through a storm, that is the moment you are true to yourself. There is no makeup, there is no suits. That moment you're down there, you realize you can push, and after that storm, you'll go home with that child. My dear brothers and sisters, tonight, that challenge you're going through, that storm you're going through, and you're almost giving up, let me tell you, don't give up. Hold on. After this, you shall say, the best was birthed in this season. After this season, the best businesses will be birthed. The best ministry will be birthed after this season of storm. I don't know what storm you're going through, but I want to tell you, any storm will come in your life. When you have an open mind, you have an open spirit, I'm telling you, this storm will not leave you the same. Let me recognize those who have joined us as we move on. Thank you. You can see my good friends, Bedwa John. Thank you for the good job you're doing. God bless you. Mother George, thank you. That should be a new member. So we need to upload Mother George for coming in. I can see we have Magdalene Wangeshi. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate God was doing in this because every show we are having a new member coming in. Thank you, Nimo. Nimo mepotea sana. Thank you. Can you tag our family back here with Brother Johnny? All those people need to be tagged back here because this wisdom. Thank you, my Uncle Reverend Simon Afenge from Nakul. I honor your anointing and the blessings that you carry. Thank you, Reverend Maureen, for joining us. God bless you. God bless you for these you people creating time. Kindly keep sharing, keep sharing. We need to reach as many people as we can. So if you are there and you can be able to share this link on your page, kindly do it so very fast so that we can be able keep touching lives and also transforming life. So I was talking about that 5 things will happen when you're going through a storm season. Number 1, it will always rediscover or discover your purpose. Is a moment where you are in a finding mission, self-finding mission. Very important. I've also said that anytime you go through a storm will always make sure that it brings the best out of you. It helps you to manufacture great ideas, because I have said this: necessity is the mother of invention. Through that storm, you realize that you can swim. Through that storm, you don't know how you can survive with 1,000. You don't know how you can survive with 500 until you are tested. Number 3, and very important, when we go through storms, very important, it helps us to be patient with ourselves. It helps us to be patient with the process. It helps us to be patient with God. We are living in a generation called a microwave generation. And some of the storms we are going through is because we are not patient enough. In the process you're going through in life, it requires a lot of patience. Patience. When you give birth to an idea, even the moment when you give a child has to go through what we call developmental stages, or the development milestone. Anything that you go through in life will allow you to develop patience. So anytime you'll find yourself through a storm in life, it is requiring you to start now building stamina in the area of patience. Patience is a gift that each and everyone needs in this life. Because some of the times we have given up when there was almost a breakthrough because we were not patient enough. I pray that in every storm we go through, some of us have been a roller coaster of going through the same storm 5 times. Have you heard of someone saying, I have dated 10 times? And you're asking them, first relationship, second relationship, third relationship, fourth relationship, and you're still doing the same mistake because I don't believe you can date 5, 6 times. There must be something that you need to fix. So those storms that you have gone through and they have been repeatedly in your life, you need to look at, the patterns. There people will tell you they have started 6 businesses in the last 5 years. There is a problem. There is a problem. There is a gifting, but you have not realized to operate in that gifting. When you realize there is a kind of a pattern you have been going through, then you need to ask yourself, what have I not learned from the first mistake or from the first storm so that I don't go the same? I want to tell you, honestly speaking, Job never went through the same storm, twice. It is not in the, it's in the plan of God. It is not in the plan of God for us to going through the same temptation, the same the same chain, now and then. It can't. If you go through a season, that season should always help you to realize, how do I need to come out in this season better, that if it was to repeat itself, I know how to tackle it, not as a storm, but something I'm already prepared for. When we go through in a battle in life, it's supposed to make sure once we conquer this battle, we are already prepared for the next battle. So if it comes in the same manner, in the same way, we can recognize even before it reaches us. Actually, we can sense, I'm almost going through this battle, which I have gone through 3 years ago, and I know how to handle it. You cannot be in and off, out, off, on. In a span of 10 years, you have gone through the same problem like 7 times. You employ today, 3 months you lose a job. After another 6 months, you have another job. And then after 6 months, the job is done. There is a kind of, you are frustrating now and then. There need to be a stability. When you talk about storm, supposed to help you to understand how to be stable in life. I hope I'm talking to someone. Most of the time, people have messed now and then because they have refused to understand that a storm, it is a school. When you go through that school and you learn and you know how to tackle the exam. You cannot be given the same exam, the same question, and you are feeling, there must be a problem. There must be a problem. You must know. This exam, I have done it last year. I remember even how it was marked. I remember even the time it came. It's the same thing. I love referring to the word of God. Look at this man in the Gospel of John chapter 5 verses 1 to verses 9. And this man woke up from his home and was going in the pool, and he knew that when I get into that pool, as long as the angel will stir the water and I get in there the first person, I will get healed. So the clarity of knowing was okay. But this man took his energy, went, sat at at the side of the pool, and he was there for 38 years. The first year, he could have mentioned and mastered when the angel comes, what time he comes, which direction does he appear from, and what time does he start. The second year should have strategized and know, by the time I'm hitting my 5th year, I have learned everything around this environment that I can know how to position myself. Because for that 8 years, he stayed there. Doing the same mistake of complaining, doing the same mistake of murmuring, doing the same mistake of finding, for pity, of sympathy. And you know what? Time comes and time goes. When you are still seated down there, or unajua nilimaliza job, or unajua sijui mtu wa kunisaidia, my friend, I want to tell you, everybody is fighting with their own storms. So arise and face that elephant in the house. Deal with it. Open a door. If you cannot open a door, bring a whole side of one of your wall and let the enemy go. But you cannot keep staying there and you don't learn. You don't learn. Every time you have gone through, but then let me tell you, most of the storms that have come is because we were to be tested, and then we failed. We'll keep doing the same exam in life. And you know what? Sometimes life is so, let me say in quotes, unfair. For if you don't pass in this level, you never go to the next. And if you forge the exam, there is a way. This life naturally has its own way of fixing itself. It will take you back to where you are. It is that serious. You have seen people faked paper, got a job, then after 5-6 years, It was in the public domain because it was in the media. A teacher fakes papers, got employed, for about 10 or so years. Then law, or rather nature, caught up with him and he's told, you need to refund this money back to the government. Do you know why? Because when we have gone through a storm in life, brethren, brothers and sisters, misters and misses, we don't learn. We keep doing the same exam and failing because our attitude is wrong. We keep complaining, we keep murmuring, we keep throwing tantrums, we keep causing drama in life. At the end of the day, our life has become, it's flat. How it was yesterday, it's the same today, it will be the same tomorrow. For how many times are we going to complain about things we can deal with? Probably those storms I have said that have come into our life, they need to fix our character. There are people who lost job because they thought it is a kawaida thing to have a job. There are people that lost a business because they were not serious, they were not disciplined. So that storm itself came to communicate to you, there are things you need to put in order. There are things you need to structure in your life so that when the next season is coming in, you're already prepared to tackle that and to handle that season with discipline, character, and integrity. Majority of us have always defined a storm as something negative in our life, something from devil. There are people who require storms in life to put order. I've said this, when you go through a storm, be patient enough to learn the lesson. Be patient enough to understand the purpose of that storm. Be patient enough to understand, what am I going to come out this storm in my life? If I was to be given the same scenario, the same way, 3, 4, 5 years, will I be prepared to handle this differently, better, more matured? I don't know how you're going to answer that question, but that is the purpose of having the Well Show. That as much as we want to encourage you, as much as we want to motivate you, we also need to help you to grow, because life will always have its challenges. At any given, when you're a young man, there are challenges that are pertaining to young men. When you get married, there are challenges that pertain to marriage. Every quarter of life has its own challenge, has its cup to drink. When you get into ministry, there are challenges there. So there is no moment you're going to live a life without a challenge unless we die. And because we are here to dominate and to have authority, anytime you're exercising authority, it means there will be obstacles. So the moment we talk about storm, I want to encourage you that even if you find you're done with this storm, there is another one that is waiting. To be very honest, there is another one that either better or smaller or lesser, depending on how well you're going to structure your mind. So that is very important. But I came with the word to encourage you that learn from this storm. Learn from whatever you're going through. Put your life in order. Number 4, and very important, as we come to the end of our topic, when we talk about storm, most of the time when you're going through a storm, learn to speak less. Let me repeat this. When you're going through a storm, learn to speak less. Learn to speak less. Learn to watch your words. Some of us, when we go through storms, even the way we talk, we are so negative about ourselves. And you know what happened? We said that a storm is not permanent. But you know what? The decisions you're going to make in that season, in that storm, will always be permanent. I've said this time and again that out of a storm, out of a season, through the words that you speak, you create a behavior. So once the storm is over, when a season is over, what you remain with is a behavior and a character. So there are people who have gone through a storm and they had trust issue during that moment. And when the moment is over, for the next of your life, they have an issue with the trust. Because they never realized they were not to make permanent decision out of a temporal situation they were going through. Anytime you go through a season, learn to speak less, learn to listen more, learn to observe more. Learn to hear what is happening. Be in touch with yourself. Most of the time we make a lot of noise. Even when news is being communicated to us, we don't hear. Because there is a lot. Look, when you get into a storm and you go into, in an ocean or in a lake, when there is always that storm, most of the time, storms will come to distract our hearing ability. And the moment our hearing ability is not clear, then there is no sight, there is no direction. So every time there is a storm, try to fight as much as you can to hear. Opportunity calling, direction calling, but that moment you cannot hear and you are talking. Some of us have stretched our seasons of storms by talking without hearing. There is a road you need to turn right, but you're always making noise, and when you're making noise you cannot hear anything. When you go through a storm, learn to speak less and listen more, observe more, open your eyes, move around, see the opportunities that are coming your way. Most of us have gotten an opportunity when we are supposed to listen, called by someone, and we talked things. I was sharing with a friend of mine, and this was very shocking. So this friend of mine met another friend, and as they were having a discussion, the friend who had come to visit had a very good plan. But at this particular moment, this friend A had a lot of challenge, and he never recognized it as an opportunity for his breakthrough. Instead of listening, he talked a lot until that friend B, who had come probably with an idea of helping the friend, was like, hey, isn't your mashida umebeba, my friend? Let me learn for my life. Most of the time, we have opened our heart to speak much of our wounds, much of our pain to people who probably they were not interested in what we have gone through. They have not interested in our pain, but they have seen something in us that can help, they can use to propel our life. But because most of the time, devil have always sharpened our tongue, and we speak negative about our season. Anytime when you get to people, you go to social media and you find a lot of negative things we are writing there. That if someone was to connect with us from the way we have presented ourselves, it is wrong. So I want to request ourselves, even as we are going through whatever we are going through, it might be difficult, but learn to speak less. Learn to listen. Observe how things are happening. See where the wind is coming from. How are you going to attack the wind as it's pushing your boat further end? Try to move around and see which are open doors that I can use during this season. Most of us have made a lot of noise in that season, and we are still there. We are still there, murmuring and complaining. But do you know what? That's not what we require. We're already in a storm. So we need to develop mechanism of how we can come out of this storm better people than we are today. May God help us. May God help us even as we are going through whatever we are going through, that we'll be able to be quiet. When Jesus woke from sleep in the boat, what he said, he told the storm, be quiet. He was speaking to the storm because the storm has ears. Sometimes you need to hear when that storm is coming so that when you attack it with the words, you're going to attack it with the right words. When you attack it, to not be a joke because you have had the opportunity when you're supposed to say it. Even in life, I want to tell you, even in your storm, know who you share your problems with. Know who you share with. Know when you open your mouth, you're opening your mouth to where. The opportunities will come in your life and you lose them. Why? Because most of the time we speak unnecessary and we speak too much that expose our nakedness, that expose our weakness, and probably majority of people, when they're looking for people to work with or to share opportunity with, they don't want to work with vulnerable people. So even if you're vulnerable, always know how to protect yourself. Know how to protect yourself. That people will not first see your vulnerability, but they will see a strength. And then from that strength, they will want to understand what are your weaknesses in life. Then you can share. Don't let your weakness speak on your behalf. Don't allow your challenges speak on your behalf. Those are not who you are. It's just a season. Don't let people brand you with a season. Develop mechanism of covering your weakness. Develop mechanism of dealing with your situations that doesn't speak out. There are people who, when they're hungry, everybody will know they're hungry. When they don't have money, you'll know, because even their dressing. Don't let situation define you, my brother, my sister. Don't let lack of your money, you'll just live hopeless. You just dress anyhowly. Unajiachilia, you can eat anything, you can dress like anyhowly. No. Even if you don't have money, dress well, dress smart. You never know that dressing could be the opportunity to deal with your weakness. Don't let that moment you're going through that becomes part of you. You know how to separate yourself from the things you got through. I've said this. Please know that when you know who you are, your standards and your value, even when you're going through a storm, that storm does not lower your standard. What happened is there is a clear separation. Yes, I know I'm going through this, but this is not who I am. So I cannot bend my standard. If you dress smart, it doesn't mean because today you are not in that position, your clothes, you put them off, dress them. Someone said sometimes when you don't even have that job, you have only fare, go to airport and take a snapshot, take a shot and post. And you know what? Let also, even in your storm, let your enemies. The Bible says, let the weak say I'm strong. It means the weak can recognize that you are there, but they will not call you as they are. When it says, let the sick say I'm healed, it means even the sickness itself, because of your standard and your principle, when you're going through a storm, there are storms that are going to reject you because they can sense your DNA. That's what it means. So when we talk about let the weak say I'm strong, I'm telling you, it means the weak can understand. They cannot in that moment. Look at this. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. When you read in Daniel chapter 3 and verses 16 going downward there. When they were called and they were said, do you have anything to answer against this case? And he told the king, as we have nothing to defend ourselves. Concerning that matter, we have nothing to say about it. Do you know what? Because they knew we cannot lower ourselves to explaining ourselves. In this situation, as much as in whatever you want to do with us, do with us. But our standard, we don't get into a conversation that is going to make us either doubt ourselves or probably get into a conversation that is going to make us in a moment feel like whatever we are saying, we can doubt whatever decision we need to make. And this is the whole thing. They said to the king, actually, in this matter, we have nothing to say. And do you know what? They got on to say, even if God will not deliver us, he remains to be God. By what we are not doing, we have nothing to answer. Even when you go through that storm, there are moments when you raise your standard. They knew their standard. They knew who they were. That's why they said, in this case, we have nothing to say about. Whatever you have had, it is true based on what you know. In the same thing happened when you go through the storms. We are trying to defend ourselves from what people they know about us. Let them know whatever they want to know. Let them say whatever they want to say. At the end of the day, that is their own opinion. And I've said this time and again, people will always have their opinion, but you're God's idea. In every storm you go through, when you lose a job, they will say that you don't know how to manage a job. When you don't have money, they will say, you know how to waste money. That's why you don't know how to plan yourself. You don't know how to budget yourself. They will always call you all manner of names and all manner of, the way they want to talk. But at the end of the day, you know what? That is their own opinion regarding on how they want to see you. But you know what? That is not what you are. That's not who you are. You are better than what people they say. You are better than your situation. As long as when you understand your value, you understand your principle, you understand your integrity. Anytime you go through a storm, don't bend who you are. Don't let that situation define you. I hope I'm clear to someone and I'm encouraging someone. As you're going through these, please hold on to yourself. Hold on to your principle. Hold on to your standard. It has costed you so much to build yourself that you cannot let a month or 2 months or a year thing break you, because it will take you so long to find yourself back. Hold on, my dear. Hold on, my sister. Hold on to that thing that you have built for so long. Don't let it be carried away. There are storms, they have messed our life. Even when we come through that storm, we still look like the same storm is still remaining in us. Let's not let that thing get into our minds. Let there be a transformation that I know I will go through this battle, but I'm not letting myself look like a battle. I hope I'm clear. Thank you. I can see Lydia is here. Hey, Pastor Mariah Thomas, thank you. God and bless you. More grace, even as you plan for the Kesha. It will be amazing. Through this storm, you're becoming better and greater. So even as we come to the end of this show tonight, I want to. Oh, thank you, Joyce, for coming in. Joyce, today we have great people coming in. I hope our director will be able to, to clap for them and give them a golden, a pin up there, because it's amazing. We have great people in today, and we don't take it for granted. Let me finish by saying this. Tonight, everybody, me included, there are things we are going through in life. Some seem to be more difficult. Some seems to be more challenging to us. Some we have no solution. We even don't know how to tackle them. But in that quietness, God says, fear not, for I am with you. The Lord is speaking is with us. He will hold us. We'll face tomorrow. That when devil come and raise a stand, when devil come like a flood, then God is going to raise a standard against. Isaiah 59:19, that God will raise a standard for us. He doesn't say he will take away the flood. When the flood will come, he raise a standard for us. We need to raise a standard in faith, a standard in our mind, a standard in our words, that even as we go through this storm, it shall leave us better people. When we go through this storm, may we be positive that is not going to kill us. I started by saying this. If that storm is not going to break you, it will build you. If that storm is going to mess you, then it will leave a message for you. I said this, out of those battles, there is a better version of you is being built. Hold on to that thing that you are thinking it's going to finish you. May God help your inner man to remain focused. There are moments when in life, and I have said things, there are moments when we have a storm as a bus stop to evaluate, to reevaluate, to re-strategize and learn which way do we need to go through. Whether it is in business, whether it is in family, that place when we'll always sit down and reevaluate ourselves and ask ourselves, after this, what shall come out of this whole scenario? What shall come out of this? I want to encourage you, please hold on. Don't give up. This life will always give us 100 reasons why we should give up. But there is only one reason that why we should hold on. We have given life, and life is given by God. It means we are still work in progress. He's still working in us. He's still working for us. He's still working of us. After this will be better. So hold on until we meet next week. Same place, same venue. I want to tell you, one day we shall hold a testimonial day and people will be able to say, this is where I was, this is where I am. So God is in the business of working. He's still in the business of working. He's fixing things. Please hold on, because he's coming to you tonight to fix that mess you're thinking will finish you. Tonight might not be tonight. It might be this month. It might be this year. It might be, this time. But he's coming. I want to tell you, he's coming. You're not forgotten, but I want to tell you, we might be pushed, we might be broken, but at the end of the day, we are not forsaken. God still knows us by our names. He said, whatever he has started, he will finish it. In the process, there are storms, there are valleys, there are dry season. But at the end of the day, what you have started in your life, he will finish it. It might not look like the way he spoke in the beginning, but be patient with him. Just follow him. Sometimes he's speaking with a very small voice, but listen to it. That's why I said, learn to speak less when you're going through a storm. So God bless you. We love you so much from The Well Show. Keep tab. Until next week, keep sharing, keep commenting. Tell us how we can improve this show, because our desire is to make it better. Our desire is also to grow. So make sure that you are there. If you do want to partner with us, if you do want to support us with an idea, any method you think you can be part of us, you're so much welcome. Hit on my messenger, and then from there we're going to connect. From us to you, we love you so much. Shalom, shalom. Until next week, God bless you. May God lift you. May God fight for you. And may God protect you. Thank you so much. Shalom, shalom.